The Mind Body Detective aims to empower and educate individuals who are on a health journey that is evolving their mind, body, and spirit. And one of the things that now the route going down the mind body detective route is that we begin to be able to look at the different stresses, the conscious, psychological, emotional stresses that are actually pulling these different organs into a relationship that translates into the way that they are physically interacting, but actually is based in the aspect of mind, of the psyche, before that then emerges into the physical or biological tissue. So looking at these sort of like 5 element different models, one of the things with looking at the liver is we want to be looking at, along with the theme of powerlessness, which there are many different ways of looking at that also in our life, but with the liver we want to be looking at what are the pathways, or how has our direction of travel been altered. So looking for something that has also happened around the beginning of that disease process, which has somehow scuppered or changed our direction of travel, that somehow we feel as though we've been thrown slightly off course, or maybe the way that we imagined or thought that we were going to travel in has somehow been altered or changed, and we're trying to find a way of navigating a different path and a different way of moving forward. And so that is an aspect that we need to be looking at, and whether or not we feel that we're able, capable, strong enough, resilient enough to be able to either continue in the direction that we were originally wanting to move in, or whether we don't feel that we are strong enough and capable and resilient enough to be able to do that on our own. And then whether, if we can't do that on our own, whether we're feeling supported and resourced enough in our environment and our social group to feel that we have the ability to do that. So if you're looking and finding that there's not that strength either within yourself, or that you feel you can call on in that external social environment, then that again is another contributing factor to the liver and the thyroid association. So when you're looking at these issues, thinking about direction of travel, resourcing for yourself individually and within your social extended environment, and how what comes up with that, how that may be making you feel powerless in yourself or in your position or in your relationships. That's a really good way to think about one of these relationships, and that's just taking on. So that, for example, is taking the traditional idea and perspective from that sort of TCM 5 element way of looking at why the liver is involved in that process, and having the earth as the central element. So I hope that gives a little bit more if you like, expansion around some of the themes that are going to need to be looked at, and when there are stresses or conflicts involved, finding one, practical solutions for that, but also two, remembering that there's an emotional and an energy psychology aspect, that this is not just arisen in some sort of random isolated incident, but that it's likely that if that's showing up in our life, we have some really deep-seated thoughts, beliefs, and maybe past experiences that are holding that in place for us. So it's really important to find ways of working, you know, with a professional, with somebody who can help you to work through those issues and resolve those issues. And I obviously would always advocate doing that in terms of energy psychology, in terms of moving the energy and looking at how that's embedded within the biology, not necessarily just a talk therapy. Because that's the direction and the area that I really believe we need to work at this, in terms of not only consciously understanding and making conscious decisions about how we want to do things and how we want to change our life, but we also need to be thinking about it in terms of, you know, moving the stuck energy, changing how our body is holding on to those past stresses and strains, so that we can release that. You have to think about it as a light. You've got to release that energy. You've got to find ways of allowing that to be changed in the body itself, not just in how we think, but in how the body is holding that. So yeah, let me leave you with that, and I hope that some of that is going to be helpful in your journey.